Hello. In this week's Torah portion, Nitzavim, God tells the Israelites, quote, I make this covenant with he who stands here with us this day before the Lord our God, and also with he who is not here with us this day. Unquote. Those who are not here are future generations of Jews and future converts to Judaism. Let's take a close look at conversion to Judaism. A convert, in Hebrew ger for a man and gioret for a woman, is a Gentile who chooses to become Jewish. The door of Judaism is always open. The Talmud distinguishes between a righteous convert, or ger tzedek, who is a full Jew, and a ger toshav, who is a non-Jew living in Israel, who observes the 7 Noahide laws, which are applicable to all mankind. We discuss here only the first. The conversion procedure is set in Tractate Yevamot, in the Mishnah. It all flows from this one passage, which I will therefore quote in full. Our rabbis taught, if a man wishes to become a convert, he is to be addressed as follows. What reason do you have for wishing to become a convert? Do you not know that the Jews at the present time are persecuted and oppressed, despised, harassed, and overcome by afflictions? If he replies, I know, and I'm still unworthy of converting, he is accepted immediately, and is given instruction in some of the minor commandments and some of the major commandments. He is also told of the punishment for the transgression of the commandments. Furthermore, he is addressed as follows. You must know that before you came, if you had eaten forbidden fat or profaned the Sabbath, you would not have been punishable. But now, if you ate forbidden fat or profaned the Sabbath, you would be punished. And as he is informed of the punishment for the transgression of the commandments, so is he informed of the reward granted for their fulfillment. He is told, you must know that the world to come was made only for the righteous, and that the Jews at the present time are unable to bear either too much prosperity or too much suffering. He is not, however, to be persuaded or dissuaded too much. If he accepted, he is quickly circumcised. As soon as he is healed, arrangements are made for his immediate ablution in a mikveh, when 2 learned men must stand by his side and acquaint him with some of the minor commandments and with some of the major commandments. When he comes up after his ablution, he is deemed to be a Jew in all respects. Unquote. The Gemara comments, the Mishnah says he is not, however, to be persuaded or dissuaded too much. Rabbi Elazar said, what is the scriptural proof for this? It is written in the book of Ruth, and when Naomi saw that Ruth was determined to go with her, she stopped telling Ruth to go back to her family in Moab. The Mishnah says if he accepted, he is quickly circumcised. Why quickly? The performance of a commandment must not in any way be delayed. The Mishnah says, when he comes up after his ablution, he is deemed to be a Jew in all respects. In respect to what practical issue? In that if he retracted his conversion and then married a Jewish woman, he is regarded as a non-observant Jew and his marriage is still valid. Unquote. This last point means that the conversion to Judaism is final and may not be taken back. The Talmud says, Af al pi shehata Yisrael hu. A Jew, even though he may sin, remains a Jew. The Midrash adds that one must discourage the prospective convert 3 times before accepting him, arguing that this is what Naomi did with Ruth. Quote, Rabbi Shmuel bar Nachmani said in the name of Rabbi Yehuda ben Hanina, 3 times is it written in the book of Ruth, turn back, corresponding to the 3 times that a would-be convert is repulsed. Quote, and Naomi said to Ruth and Orpah, go, return each of you to her mother's house. Again, and Naomi said, turn back, my daughters. Why will you go with me? And again, turn back, my daughters. Go your way. But if he persists after that, he is accepted. Indeed, Ruth persisted. Quote, when Naomi saw that Ruth was determined to go with her, she stopped objecting. Rabbi Yitzhak said, a man should rebuff with his left hand, but bring near with his right hand. In Talmudic times, the attitude towards converts was mostly positive. Witness these quotes. Converts are beloved. In every place, God considers them as part of Israel. Rabbi Elazar said, "He who befriends a convert is as if he had created him." Rav Ashi said that the destiny of the converts has been determined at Mount Sinai, citing our verse in Deuteronomy, "I make this covenant with he who stands here with us this day before the Lord our gods, and also with he who is not here with us this day." Shimon ben Gamliel says, when someone comes to accept Judaism, a hand should be stretched out towards him to bring him beneath the wings of the divine presence, the Shekhinah. The rabbis emphasized that the converts must never be shamed. The Talmud says, quote, "If a man is a repentant sinner, one must not say to him, 'Remember your former deeds.' If he is the son of converts, he must not be taunted with, 'Remember the deeds of your ancestors.' If he is a convert himself and comes to study the Torah, one must not say to him, 'Shall the mouth that ate unclean and forbidden food, abominable and creeping things, come to study the Torah which was uttered by the mouth of omnipotence?'" Unquote. From this came the tradition of not asking whether someone is a convert, and not identifying a convert as such, although the convert himself may choose to do so. The Talmud goes so far as to say, quote, "Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Elazar said, 'The Holy One, blessed be He, exiled Israel among the nations only so that converts might join them.' Indeed, Jews proselytized in Roman times, as also reported by Josephus. The Roman Empire was 10% Jewish. There were conversions to Judaism in all strata of society, upper and lower classes, even members of royal families. Some of the greatest rabbis descended from converts: Rabbi Akiva, Rabbi Meir, Shemaiah, Avtalion. Even wicked men such as Sisera, Sennacherib, Haman, and Nero had descendants who converted to Judaism. Other famous converts are Aquila, Onkelos, the Khazars, and the Adyabine kingdom. Even a prophet was a convert, the prophet Obadiah. The question then naturally arises, should Jews proselytize today? They have been inhibited from doing so for 2,000 years, as Christianity and Islam both made conversion to Judaism a capital offense. There is little enthusiasm among Jews of all stripes for proselytizing now. But one must recognize that attitudes towards converts were not always positive. Some converts were really spies for the Romans, as reported by Josephus. This led some Talmudic rabbi to write as follows. Rabbi Helbo said, "Converts are as hard for Israel to endure as a scab on the skin. Evil after evil comes upon those who receive converts." Our rabbis taught, converts and child molesters delay the advent of the Messiah. Rabbi Hiya said, "Do not have any faith in a convert until 24 generations have passed, because the inherent evil is still within him." Rabbi Eliezer the Great said, "A convert has a strong inclination to revert to his evil ways." But the same Rabbi Eliezer also said, "When a person comes to you in sincerity to be converted, do not reject him, but on the contrary, encourage him." The Midrash blames the sin of the golden calf on converts from Egypt who joined in the Exodus. Quote, "God said to Moses, 'Did I not instruct you not to allow a mixed multitude to be mingled with the children of Israel? But you, being meek and righteous, answered me, the penitent must always be accepted.' Knowing, however, what they would do later, I replied, 'No.' But nevertheless, I fulfilled your requests, with the results that it was just these people who made the golden calf, being idolaters from our folds, and who caused my people to sin. For see, those who made the calf did not say in the Torah, 'This is our gods,' but 'This is your gods.' Why? Because it was converts who went up with Moses from Egypt, who made the calf and who said to Israel, 'This is your God.'" Nevertheless, most commentators clearly favor converts. For example, in 12th century France, Rabbi Yitzhak ben Shmuel of Dampierre, a nephew of Rabbeinu Tam and an author of the Tosafot, tipped the scale decisively in favor of converts. One of his followers put a positive spin on Rabbi Helbo's judgment that converts are as hard for Israel to endure as a scab on the skin. He said, "Since converts are knowledgeable in mitzvot and are meticulous about following them, they are as tough for Israel as a scab, because God uses their example to remind Jews of their failings when His will is not followed." This reminds me of a joke. A man goes to his uncle and says, "Uncle, I met the perfect woman and I'm going to marry her." The uncle replies, "Is she Jewish?" The man says, "Not yet, but she's converting." The uncle shakes his head and says, "You'll have nothing but trouble if you marry a convert." The man marries her anyway. 6 months later, he goes back to visit his uncle. The uncle asks, "So, how's married life?" The man replies, "I can't believe it. She won't let me open the store on Shabbat. She won't let me turn lights on. She won't let me eat some of my favorite foods, such as cheeseburgers." The uncle replies, "I told you, you'll have nothing but trouble if you marry a convert." In his Sefer Hasidim, 12th century Rabbi Yehuda HaHasid goes so far as to prefer a convert to a born Jew as a bride. Quote, "A man who marries a kind-hearted convert of modest, charitable, and pleasant stock is better off than if he had married a Jewish woman who does not possess such virtues, for the seed of the convert shall be upright and kind." Unquote. In the 12th century, Maimonides, the Rambam, even went so far as to allow a convert to say "God of our fathers" in prayers, which he was up to that point not allowed to say because his fathers were not Jewish. Indeed, the Babylonian Talmud, the Bavli, does not allow it. But the Jerusalem Talmud, the Yerushalmi, allows it. Normally, when the two Talmuds differ, the Bavli wins. But Maimonides ruled in favor of the Yerushalmi. In his letter to a convert named Obadiah, he says, "You ask me if you too are allowed to say, 'Our God and God of our fathers, who has sanctified us through His commandments, who has separated us, who has chosen us, who has given to our fathers to inherit a pleasant, good, and spacious land, who has brought us out of the land of Egypt, who has worked miracles to our fathers,' and more of this kind. Yes, you may say all this in the prescribed order and not change it in the least." Unquote. The debate continues. It took 4 centuries for the Rambam's position to be universally accepted. Some issues remain today with conversion to Judaism. Traditionally, converting to Judaism just to marry a Jew is not acceptable. Yet most conversions are for marriage. Indeed, listen to the impassioned speech Ruth gave to her mother-in-law Naomi. Quote, "And Ruth said, 'Do not entreat me to leave you or to keep from following you. For wherever you go, I will go, and where you lodge, I will lodge. For your people shall be my people, and your God my God. Where you die, I will die, and there be buried. The Lord do so and so to me, and more besides, if even death separates me from you." Unquote. Note that she's not talking about her love of God, of Torah, of commandments, or of Israel. She's talking only about her love for Naomi. Conversion requirements vary according to communities and rabbis. The State of Israel has resisted attempts to identify auspices of conversion under the law of return, in Hebrew, Chok HaShvut. Here's a brief history of that law. In 1950, it said that any Jew may emigrate to Israel and instantly become a citizen. In 1954, it added, "except a person with a criminal past likely to endanger the public." In 1965, it added, "except a person identifying as a Jew, but where official documents exist that show otherwise." In 1970, it defined a Jew as someone born of a Jewish mother or who has converted to Judaism and is not a member of another religion. It does not specify auspices for conversion. The law applies to the spouse, child, or grandchild of a Jew and their spouses, be they Jewish or not. Anybody else who wishes to emigrate to Israel must go through the normal immigration process, similar to that available in Western nations. So, non-Orthodox converts may emigrate to Israel, but problems arise when rabbis refuse to perform life cycle rites. Let us give the last word to the Rambam. In his letter to Obadiah the convert, cited above, he said, quote, "Toward father and mother we are commanded to honor and revere them. Toward our prophets, to obey them. But toward converts we are commanded to have great love in our inmost hearts. God in his glory loves a convert, because he is a man who left his father and birthplace and the realm of his people at a time when they were powerful, who understood with his insights, and who attached himself to this nation, which today is a despised people, the slave of rulers, and recognized and knew that their religion is true and righteous, and pursued God, and entered beneath the wings of the divine presence." Unquote. Shabbat Shalom.